funny.
Hey, I'm Z. What's up?
Hi, I'm Oliver.
Hey everybody, I'm Ben.
Hey, I'm Elliot. Wow! Sorry.
Can someone explain why they're apologizing? Because if you have tics all day, every day, are you just apologizing all day? Like,
Hello there, I am Malachi. What's up?
Hi, I'm Echo.
Hi, my name is AJ. Hey everyone, I know I look like shit, but it's red. Hi. Hey everybody, my name's Sayori. Yo, I'm Beatrix, what's up? Hello everyone, my name is Ophelia.
The question is, what is the youngest age that a person can be diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder? And a licensed professional clinical counselor replied, it can be diagnosed in childhood, but it is rarely diagnosed until someone is in their 30s or 40s. DID presents a little differently in children and teens. The alters or parts are more diffuse and less separate. So basically, what that means is that they are not distinct personalities at that point. So any teenager claiming that they have distinct personalities within their DID is lying. And she does detail what would be a sign of DID in a child or younger person, but none of these younger people claiming to have DID, I've watched many of their videos. None of them have ever said this has ever happened to them. Ever. None of them. So, no, if you're a teenager saying you have full DID, you're a liar.
hello everyone, my name is Michelle. Welcome back to Yggdrasil, and today I am going to be talking about the Wonderland system, because talking about stuff like this will help bring education to the efforts. I know that there's something going on with TikTok right now where creators' stuff is just getting taken down. I don't know if this is related to the fake disorder cringe movement, so that disorders aren't just willingly faked online, or it's just completely unrelated. Please let me know. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the bell on if you're feeling risky, and comment below if you have heard of the Wonderland system before this video or when they were popular, because I had not. I just recently made a TikTok. Make sure to follow me on there and enjoy the video.
Hi everybody, my name is Connor and I'm the co-host of the Wonderland system. It's nice to meet you all. Welcome to our account. Today we're going to be doing a very small system introduction video, so let's go. Hi, we are the Wonderland system, and we are a polyfragmented traumagenic DID system. We were professionally diagnosed a few months ago, but we've known we were a system for over 2 years. So yeah, we have about 204 alters right now that I know of, not counting anybody who's dormant. So yeah, as you can see, the body has slight tics, so every single alter will have tics. Saying that because there was confusion on our last account about the tic thing. Our buddy is 18, we were diagnosed at 18. There you go. I'm the co-host, my name is Connor, my pronouns are he, him. My other co-host, her name is Tilly, and her pronouns are she, they. Yeah, and I'm going to be making my own introduction video right after this. Yeah, that's the Wonderland system. See you guys. Hope you enjoy our content.
In 2021, the Wonderland system was an 18-year-old person who claimed to be diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder and 100,000 followers. DID, aka dissociative identity disorder, is a condition in which an individual has two or more separate identities. These personalities control their behavior at different times, and each alter has their own personal history, traits, likes and dislikes, etc. Most of the time, alters will have amnesia while another alter is fronting or existing in reality, so they will be unaware of what's going on with the other ones when they're out. This individual has jumped off the face of the internet, so really we can't confirm or unconfirm that this person actually has DID or not, but based on our evidence we can go ahead and assume that they don't. Although this is the complete theory, I'm not a doctor, I am not a personal friend of theirs, I don't know them at all, and this is complete speculation. The conversations going around the DID community after this person disappeared, though, makes it seem like the symptoms that this person have are inequivalent to what realistic DID would look like. One reason people are kind of confused about this creator and their DID is their tics. Why do some of them have tics and some don't? Well, actually, this is explainable because tics generally come from a neurological disorder. You can be born with it, or you can get it from things such as a brain injury, but generally they are a neurological disorder that affects the neurons in the brain. So basically, the neurons can't just turn off and on based on the alter like magic. This means they're faking, right? No, actually it doesn't. There's a definite chance that if the whole body had tics, some would have them more severe than others, probably due to the high anxiety that some feel versus others, the different emotions and experiences. Alters can unconsciously mimic certain disorders to a point where they genuinely believe that they have it. In regards to alters having things such as lactose intolerance and others not, I have no freaking idea how that works, because they claim that their body actually reacts to lactose differently, so please let me know. That's very interesting. So maybe they don't have a tic disorder, but rather they have an unconscious thought that they have the neurology to have one. There are still things that do not make sense to people regarding DID. It's a very under-researched project. Projects? Disorder. How does DID form? Well, in childhood, it forms from very traumatic experiences. It's a literal coping mechanism in the same way that people will engage in self-harm or disordered eating behaviors or abuse of alcohol or certain other things. It doesn't make sense to us if we don't have it. People think that they're faking because they have 274 alters, but the more and more we go on, the more we see that people just develop more than 100 alters in some circumstances. Something that is huge for fake claimers, and I know this is not impossible or even uncommon in some ways, but they have non-human alters, very far left-wing and right-wing alters, a bunch of dormant alters, which are alters that are ceased from being active in the front or in the inner world for a long period of time. Alters who are dating and a complex inner world. Similarly to other DID systems, the Wonderland system was very much dedicated to educating and destigmatizing against dissociative identity disorder. However, something that is unlike other systems with this system is that they have an answer for everything. A lot of people will be like, well, my system doesn't have an inner world, because generally inner worlds are actually created as a therapeutic technique rather than just existing within the person already. There's a lot of consistencies with this system, but there's also a lot of inconsistency. One of the consistencies for me personally is the story that the system is able to tell. Like, they're different from other systems. They seem like they genuinely sat down and thought about this. However, the cherry on the top of what makes them faking, other than the fact that they're 18 and you can't have fully formed alters, usually at that age, is their diagnosis story. They're like, why wouldn't people diagnose DID in teenagers? Because obviously DID is created as a response to childhood trauma. Well, I think the reason for that is to make sure that the person actually has it, other than a million different disorders that there are out there. Wonderland states that they spent 6 years in the mental health system. Within this time, some random psychiatrist, Dr. Mann, walked up to them and was like, hey, it's pretty obvious to me that you have DID, so I'm literally quoting, let's go ahead and pull out the DSM-5. In my opinion, the DSM-5 is something that people use when they're trying to sound smart, but they don't actually know what they're talking about. Because what does the DSM-5 have to do with this other than the diagnostic criteria for DID? Basically, if this person does have DID, then their doctor diagnosed them with DID incorrectly, because first of all, why? Why? This person could have had any disorder that is similar. If this is true, it seems like the doctor was very DID happy and was interested in being the doctor who diagnosed DID. Because usually, or even borderline personality disorder isn't diagnosed at this age, because borderline personality disorder can be grown out of. So basically, you don't actually have it, you just have teenage symptoms that are similar to the diagnosis. Obviously, it takes a lot more than the DSM-5 to get diagnosed. I'm sure that the Wonderland system knew that they weren't specifically just talking about the DSM-5. However, it takes about 10 years to get diagnosed, which means for some people it takes a lot longer. So to be super excited about the fact that an 18-year-old could have DID is It honestly seems like a terrible doctor, but more likely that this person was just making it up. This is the last bit, and I would love anyone to help me out with this in the past, but people think that they're faking because they went from 204 alters to 274 by the time that their account was just abandoned, which means that they gained about 70 alters in 3 months. So let me know if that's possible, you guys. I mean, based on my knowledge, every system is different. However, this person would have had to be going through an extremely traumatic situation, because I think the fake disorder cringe side of TikTok fails to understand that that's how alters are actually created. This alone doesn't mean that they're faking. They could be alters who were hiding out, who were dormant. And polyfragmented DID, which is when you have a lot of complex alters, it is a possibility. Polyfragmented systems can form alters at the same time, consistently, and easily. The system ended up just deleting their account out of the blue one day, and let me know what you guys think about that. A lot of people were making fun of them in a way that wasn't even like against them, it was just against DID in general. Like, first of all, I don't understand why people wouldn't believe in DID at all, because like, what? Like, I'm not a doctor, and doctors believe in it. Not all of them, but they do.
one of our old videos from our old account, it like blew up and a bunch of people latched onto it and just spammed our comments with like fake claiming and stuff, which was not really anything we weren't used to. But when it escalated to like death threats and like people attacking like our like system friends and stuff, we were just like, okay, no. So it's because we were like getting death threats and shit, basically, is why our comments are off. So hi, this question's a bit complicated to answer. The reason that we know how to express ourselves is because we are ourselves. The idea is not just like one person acting like a bunch of different people. It's basically like having like a fragmented personality. So like we are technically different people. So and there's also this thing called the inner world, where it's like a world built inside of our head where all the alters like live and communicate and interact when we're not fronting, and we all have like our own appearances in there. So what a lot of alters tend to do is just try to look the most like themselves that they can. So yeah, they don't like tell someone like, oh, this is how I dress, because like they're the ones who are doing that. Does that make sense? I'm sorry if that makes absolutely no sense. I hope it does though. Okay, so hi, and yeah, there's no need to worry. It's not a weird question. I totally understand the curiosity behind it. So yeah, like don't worry, it's not weird, not at all. So I know this can work differently it depends system to system, obviously. I've heard of some systems who do just dream collectively, or alters having their own dreams. Our system works a little bit differently. It's kind of weird. So basically how our system works is that like I'm not gonna remember my dreams unless I jump them in the body. Okay, let me explain that. So like if I fell asleep while I was fronting and I had a dream, it's possible that I will remember my dream, just as possible as it is for anyone else to remember a dream. But if I fall asleep in the inner world, I'm probably not going to. I have never remembered a dream that I've had in the inner world, and so yeah. And I've also talked to other alters in our system about this, because near the time I first split, I was really, really interested in like why I couldn't remember my dreams in the inner world. I was like, why can't I ever remember? And people were like, yeah, we just don't remember them unless we were fronting. So that's not just like a me thing, it's like how it works for most of our alters. They just don't remember dreams unless they were sleeping in the body, like if they were fronting. So yeah, that's how it works. Thank you for the question. So hi, and yeah, hi. Hi, if you're talking about like our favorite color is like a collective, is like a whole system. We don't have one. Like every alter has their own favorite color. If you're asking me specifically, I do not have a favorite color. I just don't. Yeah, so there you go. So hi, yes, 1000%, yes. Alters can definitely have different accents. A lot of our alters speak in very different ways. Like we have a couple who have British accents. We have a couple who speak a lot deeper than the body or a lot higher. So yeah, definitely, yeah. So hi. Yeah, that is our audio. It's from our old account that got taken down, so it's not like on this account anywhere. But yeah, all the alters in that video, they're doing fine. Not all of them, but a lot of them don't really post online anymore. For obvious reasons, because that video like blew up and a lot of people got really, really upset that like alters can speak in different ways. But yeah, thank you for asking. They're totally, they're doing okay. Yeah, so thank you for asking. So, hi. Hi, yeah, we do have an alter named Beatrix. That's probably us you're thinking of, so, yes. Hi, yeah. Hi, the answer to that is yes. An alter can definitely have a crush on another alter. I'm literally dating another person in our system, so yes. Basically, the way that works is there's a thing called the inner world, which is a world built inside of our head where all of the alters live, interact, communicate, all of that shit, when we're not fronting. That's like where we are when we're not fronting in the body. We don't just like black out. We're in the inner world, so that's how alters can like date each other. So like we date in the inner world. We don't like front together and like talk to each other. We date in the inner world. So yeah, I hope that answers that. Hi, the reason we don't post like nearly as much as we used to is because we moved out of our old house and we've been like going through it. We've been like not doing well collectively. Like, as a system, we've been not doing very great, so that's why we haven't been posting as much. The reason we don't post, like, nearly as much as... So, hi, the basic answer to that question is, yes, we talk inside of our head, because there is a thing called an inner world, which is just a world where alters live and communicate and all that shit when we're not fronting. So we just talk to each other in the inner world, so, yeah. So, hi, so a lot of our makeup styles are similar. It's not like a subconscious thing to do that style. It's just that we happen to have a lot of alters who enjoy similar styles of makeup. Also, in the inner world, I wear a lot more, like, extreme type of makeup than this. But, skills don't really follow. Like, from the inner world, I can do really, really extreme makeup. But if I tried it out here, it probably wouldn't look that great because the body isn't great at makeup. So, like, if you could play an instrument in the inner world, you probably can't play it out here. Because that's not how it works. You can't do something that the body doesn't know how to do. So that's why a lot of it is, like, similar. Also, we just happen to have a lot of alters who have similar styles. So a lot of our makeup styles are similar. So, hi. Yeah, don't worry, that's not, like, a rude question. I get why you're curious. It can seem, like, really complicated and messy. Believe me, it is complicated and messy, relationships with DID. Basically, there's, like, kind of two ways that it can work. There's more than two. There's a couple of ways that things like this can work. So the first way that it can work is obviously a system dating a singlet. Singlet just means someone who is not a system. You know, someone without DID, OSTD. So that can happen. The majority of the times we've seen it, and when we did it, it was a singlet who is poly, so they could date multiple different alters in the system. It doesn't really work out unless the singlet is educated. If they're uneducated, it ends really badly. Believe me, I'm talking from experience here. So it can be really messy with a singlet. And also there are people who just date, like, one alter of the system. That does happen as well. I've just not seen it as much. So the other way this can work is two systems who date. This is where the term partner system comes from. There are platonic partner systems as well, but usually when we use it, at least, it's romantic. And it's just when two systems date each other, and a lot of times there are multiple relationships, like, throughout, like, a couple of different alters who date each other within the system. So that's kind of how it works, yeah. There's, like, a third way that this could work is dating, like, within your own system, because we have an inner world where all the alters live and communicate and all that stuff when they're not fronting. This is something that I've heard is different for different systems. It's very... Okay. It works pretty well for our system because we have, like, a very realistic inner world. Like, our inner world feels a lot like out here. So it's easier for us to do that. For other systems with, like, more underdeveloped inner worlds, I've heard it's harder. So, yeah. Those are kind of the ways that it could work. Like I said, relationships and DID it's a very messy thing. It's pretty hard. But, you know, it's not impossible. So, hi, yeah. So, this question, it basically depends on, like, if the alter is, 1, comfortable, 2, if we are around people that it is safe to do so, and 3, if they have the energy, to be honest. A lot of times people just kind of don't. We just, like, go with whatever's going on. If we're going out, then yes, usually. Sadly, we don't have a binder. We're getting one really soon because we have a lot of more masculine or just alters who want to bind, so we are getting one. But usually we don't put on makeup, like, unless we're, like, going out or filming TikToks or something like that. Yeah. So this question is, the simple question to that answer is yes, definitely. I definitely hate some of the people out here. And there's also some alters I'm definitely not fond of, so yes, we can hate people outside and each other. So this question is gonna depend on what system you ask, but for us specifically, it kind of feels like waking up just in a different body. Like, you'll be in the inner world, you'll get, like, a weird kind of feeling, and then all of a sudden you'll, like, kind of, like, it feels like waking up from, like, sleeping, and then you're like, oh, I'm in the body now. That's kind of how it feels for us. At least, like, it'll be like you were in the inner world and now you're in the body, but it feels like you woke up, just in a different place. So this question is gonna... Okay, so what you're referring to is actually called a host, which is just basically the altar who fronts the most often. Right now, we don't really have one. We recently did have a host and a co-host. Now, we don't have either. We all kind of the people who do front regularly, it's kind of like a mixed bag. No one is really, like, the most active right now. We just don't have one. Okay, so hi. I think that our oldest altar would be Yama, because Yama is non-human, and I'm pretty sure he is well over 1,000 years old, so that is probably our oldest. If you're talking oldest in terms of, like human ages, our oldest human altar, I believe, is close to 60, I think. He's around, like, 50-something, around 60, I think. And our youngest altar is an age slider. An age slider is just someone who, like, kind of moves between ages. Our youngest is an age slider, and she age slides between the ages of 2 years old and 5 years old. So, yeah, she's, like, 3 or 4 most of the time. Okay, so, hi. I think that our oldest altar would be Yama, because... So, hi. Yes, I believe the answer is yes. That, like, because there are altars who have more control over the front. Those are usually gatekeepers who can be, like, kind of control who is fronting, and they can, like, pull people from front or put people in front if, like, there's an emergency. So, yes. And if there was an altar who was in front and refused to, like, leave front, for some reason, that, usually it would be handled by a gatekeeper. If a gatekeeper were to do that, I'm not really sure what would happen, because that's, like, never happened to us before. So, hi. Yes, I believe the answer is yes. That, like, because there are altars who have... So, hi. I'm assuming you're asking because of our poster. It's multiple of us, a lot of us. Like Melanie Martinez, like, a lot of us. So it's not just one. I am one of them, though. So, hi. So, simple question to that answer is... No. When we are not fronting, if we are not fronting, we are not aware of what's going on in the body at all. Like, we have absolutely no idea what's going on. That's, like, the amnesia barrier there. We don't know what happened when other people were fronting. When we are not fronting, we are in the inner world, which, for us specifically, is a pretty detailed and realistic world built inside of our head, where all of the altars, like, live. When we're not fronting, that's where we are. So, simple question to that answer. So, hi. I'm assuming you're asking because of our poster. It's multiple of us, a lot of us. Like Melanie Martinez, like, a lot of us. So it's not just one. I am one of them, though. So, simple... Okay, so, no. Altars cannot die unless the body dies. A lot of people tend to be confused about that, but no, altars cannot die. They can go dormant, which means they just they're not active, and they are just not in the inner world, they don't front, none of that. They can also integrate, integration is, like, you know, multiple altars becoming one. Kind of. Like, that can happen. But no, altars cannot die. Under any circumstances, unless the body dies, altars do not die. Okay, so hi, don't worry, that totally does make sense, I get what you mean, and the answer is yes, we can definitely have friends that are in the system. Any relationship that you could have out here, you could also have in the inner world between altars, so yeah, I hope that answers. So hi, don't worry, that totally does make sense, I get what you mean, and the answer is yes, we can definitely have friends that are in the system. So that, yes, to a certain extent, gatekeepers do, in some systems, have control over fronting, like, fronting and, like, knowledge and stuff. In our system specifically, they did suppress other altars for a very, very long time, and probably still are, I don't know. But, like, there was a whole other part of our inner world that was locked off, and only gatekeepers could go to it. Now we know about it, but we didn't before. So, yes, I don't know what you mean by dominate, but yes, they can, like, hide other altars and, like, keep people from knowing things, and sometimes control front. For our system specifically, they can only really control front in, like, emergencies. Other than that, they can't really do it that much. So the most simple way to answer your question is, you fucking don't. You do not know if someone is faking. I don't care how educated you are. If you are not that person's medical professional, their doctor, psychiatrist, therapist, back off. It is not your place to tell them whether or not they have a disorder. You cannot tell whether or not someone is faking online. No, you have to be that person's medical professional. Not just a medical professional, that person's medical professional, because it takes a really long time to diagnose the disorder. The only way that you can, like, know someone is faking is if they have literally told you that they are faking. If they have told you, like, hey, they're faking this disorder, then yeah, go ahead, I don't care. But, like, I'm not gonna sit here and give you tips on how to fake claim other systems. So, no. Basic answer, you don't tell. You're not a medical professional, back off. It's not your place to tell them. So obviously this depends system to system, but for our system, it's kind of hard to say. The people, because there's so many of us, a lot of us have quite similar tastes, not 100%, but like pretty similar, but then there are people who have very, very different tastes, like we have like vegetarian alters in our system while everyone else eats meat. So yes, we do have different tastes and we all have like different favorite foods and stuff like that. Yeah. So obviously this depends system to system, but for our system, so basically how we were able to get diagnosed, we spent 6 years in the mental health system getting told it was other things, but while we were in a mental hospital, the psychiatrist there was like, hey, it's pretty obvious you have DID, let's go through the DSM-5 and get you diagnosed. So that's how we were able to get diagnosed. Yeah, we just finally got to someone who was educated enough on it to diagnose us. So basically how we were able to get diagnosed, we spent 6 years in the mental health system getting told it was other things, but while we were in a mental hospital, the psychiatrist there was like, hey, it's pretty obvious you have DID, let's go through the DSM-5 and get you diagnosed. So that's how we were able to get diagnosed. Yeah, we just finally got to someone who was educated enough on it to diagnose us. For that, if your psychiatrist is like, hey, you have signs or traits of DID, but they won't diagnose you with it, it could be one, because they don't know enough about the disorder to diagnose you with it, because there are, some medical professionals who do not know a lot about DID because it's quite a stigmatized disorder that they don't teach a lot about. So it's possible that they just maybe don't know enough about it to diagnose you. I would recommend going to someone who specializes in dissociative disorders, because they're more likely to be able to actually like tell if you have the disorder or not and possibly get you the correct diagnosis. So yes, I would recommend going to a dissociative disorder specialist if you can, because they're more likely to get you the correct diagnosis, because yeah. Also, side note, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but they are less likely to diagnose minors with DID and OSD. So if you are a minor, it might just be a lot harder to get diagnosed. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because it does, but it's a lot more rare than adults getting diagnosed with it for some really weird reason. I'm not really sure why they're less likely to diagnose minors, because this is a disorder that starts with childhood trauma, so it forms in childhood. But from what I've heard and experienced, minors are less likely to get diagnosed, but it's still possible. From what I know, that is an endogenic type of thing. Endogenic means systems who believe that you can be a system without trauma, which is not true, not how it works. A tulpa, I'm pretty sure, is, I think it's like people trying to manifest alters. Like, basically they use spiritual practices to become systems. In short, it's bullshit. That's not how systems work. It is a trauma disorder. You have to have trauma. Like, if you think you're endogenic, you probably just have repressed trauma. Like, that's kind of harsh, but it's true. You cannot have DID without trauma. Yes, we all have different preferences and different sexualities when it comes to, like, partners. We all have different ones. Hope that answers. Yes, we all have different preferences and different sexualities when it comes to, like, partners. We all have different ones. Hope that. So the diagnosis process for us was just, in short, very, very long. It took us 6 years of being in the mental health system to get diagnosed. And if you're talking about, like, after they started suspecting DID, still kind of long, because we were in the mental hospital when this happened, and it took weeks weeks, I think. I can't remember how long we were in the program that we got diagnosed in, but it was weeks. And, you know, they take everything into account. There's not just like a test that you can take where they're like, oh, take this test and we'll tell you if you have DID. That's not really works. You're not going to get evaluated for DID in like 5 minutes. It takes a really long time. So, yeah, the diagnosis process was long. It included, like, you know, them watching over your behavior while you're inpatient, and then, like, going through the DSM-5 and, like, asking about trauma history and things like that. So the diagnosis process for us was just, in short, very, very long. So, just a heads up, I know you don't mean this, like, in a malicious way, but I'm just gonna let you know that is a terrible way to word that. To say like, oh, you are one alter, because it kind of makes it sound like DID is just someone like becoming a different person and kind of just like acting like a different person, which is not what it is. But with switching, it depends on what's going on throughout the day, and it also depends on what's going on in our life. Like in times of like higher stress, we will have more switches throughout the day. Right now, usually it's alters. It depends on what's going on in the day, to be honest, but like if there's nothing going on, if we're just like sitting around our apartment all day, it's like usually like one alter for like a day or two, and then we switch. But it really depends. It depends on the circumstances, what's going on. Yeah, that's how it works. So just a heads up, I know you don't mean this like in a malicious way, but I'm just gonna let you know that is a terrible way to word that. Okay, so alter type is somewhat self-explanatory. It just means the type of alter that someone is. There's a lot of alter types, like ANP and EP. ANP is just apparently normal part. EP is emotional part. And there are things like introjects, which is an alter type. There is fragments and things like that. So it's just the type of alter that someone is. Position, I believe you mean role. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. But role is just like what someone's purpose in the system is. Like, for example, a protector, their role would be to, you know, protect. It can be certain things, certain alters, all of the alters, the system from specific things like that. It's just like what their purpose in the system is, basically. Okay, so alter type is somewhat self-explanatory. It just means the type of alter that someone is. There's a lot of alter types, like ANP and EP. ANP is just apparently normal part. EP is emotional part. And there are things like introjects, which is an alter type. There is fragments and things like that. So it's just the type of alter that someone is. Position, I believe you mean role. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. But role is just like what someone's purpose in the system is. Like, for example, a protector, their role would be to, you know, protect. It can be certain things, certain alters, all of the alters, the system from specific things like that. It's just like what their purpose in the system is, basically. So the simple answer is yes. There can be different levels of skill with certain things. Like me specifically, I'm probably a bit better at makeup than like some of the alters who don't wear makeup. Probably better. So yeah, obviously you can't have a skill in something that the body doesn't. Like, the body cannot play guitar, so I cannot play guitar. That is how that would work. But yes, we can have different levels of like, who's better at this, and who's good at this, and who's bad at this. Yeah. Basically it just depends on like, who's spent the most time practicing it, fronting, inner world, whatever. Because like, you're not gonna have the skills if you don't practice them, obviously.
I know that there's something going on with TikTok right now where creators' stuff is just getting taken down. I don't know if this is related to the fake disorder cringe movement, so that disorders aren't just willingly faked online, or it's just completely unrelated. Please let me know. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the bell on if you're feeling risky, and comment below if you have heard of the Wonderland system before this video or when they were popular, because I had not. I just recently made a TikTok. Make sure to follow me on there. Thank you so much for watching this video, and goodbye.